What's going on, guys? Corey from Yota Expedition here. We have our 3rd gen Tacoma here, and we're going to be transforming the front of this with our Pro Style grill. So I'm going to show you how to get this OEM grill off. We're going to get the Pro Style grill assembled, and we're going to get it installed. So let's get started. All right, so we're going to start with popping the hood, and we have a 10mm socket, a ratchet, and a flathead screwdriver, and that's pretty much all the tools you're going to need to get this grill off. So on either end of the grill, you're going to have a clip. So we'll go ahead and use the flathead screwdriver to pop that out, and you can just go ahead and pull it out with your fingers. And then you're going to have two 10mm bolts right here on these 2 brackets. Go ahead and take those out as well. All right, so we got those 2 clips out, we got those 2 bolts out. If you have TSS on your Tacoma, you're gonna go ahead and unplug that. And then at that point, we're pretty much ready to pull the grill off. Once you have everything disconnected, you can go ahead and pull the grill right off. All right, so with the grill out of the Tacoma, our next step is to get the center section out from the outer section. So I'm going to go ahead and flip this over. There's a couple screws in the back we have to take out, and we also have to be taking the TSS sensor off and transferring that over to our new grill if you have that. All right, we'll go ahead and start with the TSS sensor. Go ahead, unplug that. You're going to have 2 10mm bolts holding that in, as well as a Phillips head screw. And then you're going to want to pull these out. We're going to be saving these and transferring these over to our new grill. Also, you're going to have to get this unclipped, which might be a little bit difficult with the emblem in the way. So you might have to take the emblem out first, but that's pretty easy. All right, to get this emblem out, you're going to have 4 clips holding it in. Just push both of these at the same time and push them out. Go ahead and get the other 2. And there's the emblem. Now we can get this clip out here for your TSS sensor. So with the grill flipped back over again, we're going to have a total of 8 screws around the perimeter of the inner grill portion. We're going to go ahead and take those 8 screws out, and then we're also going to have some clips holding the center section as well. Once we take all of that out, the 2 halves will come apart. All right, so we got the grill separated. We have the outer portion here, which is what we're going to be putting back on our Tacoma. Let's go ahead and get the Pro Style grill assembled, and then we'll get this reinstalled. All right, so before we go ahead and get the grill assembled, we're going to go over all the different options that we have. So when it comes to the letters, we have silver, black, and black topography. And for the Raptor lights, we have amber lens with amber LED, smoked lens with amber LED, smoked lens with white LED, and clear lens with white LED. Each kit will come with 4 Raptor lights and all the appropriate wiring to wire it into your Tacoma. All right, so we went over the letter and the lighting options. Some of the other options we also have is if you have a front camera, we'll include the bracket. You are going to have to cut out the section here on the front where your camera pokes through, but we will be showing you how to do that. Also, if you have TSS on your Tacoma, we will be including a TSS cover. So that's going to require you to take out this front cover that comes originally on the grill and put this on instead. We'll be showing you how to do that as well. So the first thing we're going to do is install our letters. What I would do is, if you're going to be flipping this thing over and laying it on the face, I would lay it down on the bubble wrap that it comes in. So let's go ahead and do that and get these letters installed. So your letters are obviously going to be getting installed in this opening here. There is 4 spots here for some Phillips head screws. The kit does come with 8 screws. We're going to be using the black ones. They're a little bit longer. So we'll go ahead and place our letters in there, push them down, make sure everything's sitting nice and flush, and then we'll go ahead and install those 4 Phillips head screws. You are screwing into plastic, so you don't have to go crazy. Just snug them up and you'll be good. All right, so the next thing we're going to be going over is the TSS cover. If you don't have TSS, then you can go ahead and skip this part. But if you do, you're going to have to swap out this cover. So the first thing we're going to do is take out the old one. We're going to take a Phillips head screwdriver. We're going to place the Phillips head screwdriver onto the peg here for the cover, and we're going to just go ahead and smack that out, just like so. And we'll go ahead and do the same thing on this side. All right, so we got the non-TSS cover out. We're going to go ahead now and install the TSS cover. So go ahead and snap that back in place. And then we're going to be putting the washers back onto the studs. And what I usually like to use is the 10mm socket. And you can go ahead and push those on like so. Okay. Another step I usually like to do is take one of the pieces of foam and put that underneath the TSS cover. That way you have something to push down on, and then you can go ahead and push down on the TSS cover to get that stud sticking up as far as possible, and then just give the washer a whack with a hammer in the socket. So we got the TSS cover on. Now we can go ahead and reinstall the TSS sensor. So we're going to take those nuts from the factory grill. We're going to go ahead and install those in the new grill. And then we can go ahead and line up the pegs with the TSS sensor. We can go ahead and put the 2 bolts back in place for that. And then we have a brand new screw that is supplied to go into the top of the sensor there. All right, so we got the TSS sensor installed. The next thing we're going to be showing you how to do is install the camera bracket. So if you don't have a camera on your Tacoma, you can go ahead and skip this part. And next thing we're going to be showing you after that is the Raptor lights. All right, so right here we have the camera bracket. So if you do have a camera, this is going to be getting installed with your letters at the same time. It's going to be going on the 2 top studs there for where your letters mount as well. And then as you can see, where the camera is actually going to be, you have one of the honeycomb there inside the grill. So you're going to have to cut this section out. So you can either cut it right here and just take out this center section, or you can cut it back here and take out all of this. Depends on what you want to do, but we're going to go ahead and cut this with an oscillating tool. That seems to be the easiest thing to cut it with, so I'll go ahead and show you how to do that. All right, so we got the oscillating tool here. If you don't have one of these, you can use a Dremel if you have that. You can use an air saw if you have one of those. You could probably even use a razor knife. It's just going to take you a little while, and obviously you want to be careful to get that cut out, but let's go ahead and get this done. All right, so once you have it cut out, you're obviously going to have some melted plastic. You're going to have to clean that up. So you can see here we have a little bit of extra that we didn't get cut. So you can either, well, here I can go ahead and just break that off like so. Clean it up with sandpaper if you want, get the edges nice. And that should be good enough to go ahead and get the camera mounted in then. Should clean that up a little bit. All right, so we got that cut out. I cleaned it up with a Dremel just to make it look a little bit nicer. Now we're going to go ahead and take your camera and we're going to place it into the bracket. It's only going to fit one way. So you're gonna have 2 studs that go through 2 of the holes diagonally, and then the other 2 are going to get screws. So we'll go ahead and screw that in. So if your letters are already installed, just go ahead and take out those 2 top screws, lay this on top of your letters, put your screws back in, and then you will have a shroud that is going to be going around the camera. Once that's on there, it's going to clean it up a little bit more. So we just finished up showing you how to install the camera bracket. Last thing we need to do is install the Raptor lights. So those are going to be going into the 4 positions here in the top center of your grill. So you're just going to go ahead and feed the plug through. And then once you have it down in place, go ahead and push it pretty firmly. Try to get it all the way down there so it sits nice and flush. So over on the truck, we already have the Raptor light harness installed. So we have that zip tied here to the center bar on your core support. We have the wiring ran down bottom behind the headlight, tucked away so it's not going to get in the way behind the battery. And then we have it running to our fuse box here, and I'll show you where we have that wired in. So I got the fuse box cover off. You can see we have a hole here on the side so we can run the wiring through. If you look at this, we have it into the 10 amp INJ fuse location. So on the fuse box, that's going to be right here next to this 120 amp fuse. So you're going to have a 10 amp fuse in that location from factory. You're going to go ahead, pull that 10 amp fuse out, put it here into the jumper, and then plug the jumper back into that location. And then you can see we have a short wire here that we run through the fuse box cover, and then plug that into the harness that leads up to the Raptor lights. And then the ground wire we have running right here to the side of the fender. That's where your negative terminal mounts for your battery as well. All right, so we got the OEM grill surround back on the table. Now we can go ahead and install the intersection. This is gonna have 16 clips that is gonna be clipping into the OEM portion of the grill, where the OEM grill only had 8 clips and 8 screws. So we're not gonna be using the screws that we took out earlier. Go ahead and line up all of the clips. And once you have everything lined up, you can go ahead and push it in place. All right, we got the inner grill back onto the outer portion of the grill. At this point, we can go ahead and put this back on the Tacoma. Go ahead and put these 2 clips back in on either side. Put the 10mm bolts back in here on these, and then make sure to plug in your TSS sensor. Otherwise, you're going to get a check engine light. So plug that in. You can clip the harness back into its location right here. And then if you got the Raptor lights, we're going to go ahead and plug those in now as well. Okay, we got the Raptor lights all plugged in. Go ahead and tidy up your wires so they're not dangling down behind the grill. All right, guys, that's gonna wrap it up with the Pro Grill installation on the 3rd Gen Tacoma. If you have any questions about this install, make sure to ask us down below in the comments. If you wanna pick one of these up for your Tacoma, make sure to head over to yotaexpedition.com or click the link down in the description. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.